Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm CA Rishabh. Today, we're starting part 1 of our manufacturing dashboard series. Let's take a look at this raw Excel data we're dealing with. Pretty dull, right? But watch this. We are going to transform it into this beautiful interactive dashboard. By the end of this series, you'll know exactly how we got from that to this. Let's get started. All right, so let's begin with our data set first. So for the data set, we have a company called Tasty Treats, and it's of course a sample data, but let's have a look at the Excel file, the boring Excel file. Yeah, we have the batch, the production, the product, whether it's biscuit, cookies, etc., or whether it comes in a pack of 4 or pack of 10, what's the expected output, what's the actual output, what are the defective units. So we have all these details and you can definitely go through it and check it out. Now, what I'll be doing is I'll be uploading the Excel file, the backgrounds or any elements that I have used in the dashboard in a Google Drive, and I'll be sharing the link with you. So make sure to check it out and download first, and then you can begin preparing your dashboard. All right. So what we have done here is we have taken data for 2024 and 2025. Now, why I want you to remember this is because this will be useful when we will be creating our calendar table, which is very essential in our dashboard. So you can see 25 and 24. So I just want you to remember this for now. So, okay, enough with the Excel. Now we can switch to Power BI and we see a beautiful animation, and there we go. Okay, we just click on a blank report and then we just click on Excel workbook to import the data. Yep, and we have our data over here. Now again, as usual, I have always told in my previous videos as well, I always like to import everything at once. So I'll click all the three tabs and I'll just hit on load. Cool. It will take a couple of seconds, but it'll load soon, so don't worry. Okay, so when we go to the table view, we see our read-only Excel is already imported. So we have our data for employees, productions, and sales. Okay, now to create a date table, we go to the modeling pane and then we click on new table. Now, I'll be putting in the formula for the new table. You can, of course, pause the video and copy it. The formula would contain the dates from 1st January 2024 to 31st March, 31st December 2025, as I have shown you in the Excel that data, that's the date range where we have our data. So go ahead and pause the video while you feel you need to write down the formulas. See, here we have it. We have your month format. So what it's going to do is it'll create a table with all the split values of year, month, quarter, everything. So yep, we have our calendar table ready. So when we go, we see here, we have our calendar table. Now, I would like to change the format for it from just date and time to just date. I like it in a more cleaner way. So yeah, it's good. We have the year, month, month number, quarter. etc. Okay, so now we see that we do not have it in the ascending order. So I'd like to put it in the ascending order first. Okay, so we need to remember that we need to mark it as a date table. So click on and then we'll select the column as date and then we'll save it. Now going back to sorting it, we'll just click on column tools and then we'll sort by column and then date. Okay, but it's still not appearing. Okay, so we'll just click on sort ascending over here and boom, we have it on a sequence format. I like it better. Okay, so going back to the report view. Okay, first we need to put in the date in the correct format. I mean, I like to make it cleaner. So the production date is in correct format, but when you go to the sales tab, we see that it's again date time format. So I would put it in a date format and then we'll go to our model view so that we can establish some relationships. Yeah, so we see we have a date that's a common point between all the tables. So we just drag date to date and we click on save and boom, we have our first relationship established. Now we're going to do it similarly for the production date as well. So we're going to drag it to production date and then again hit on save. And I think we're good to go. So we have the date as a common point, right? All right, so going to the report view. Now it's time to, okay, now we have our calendar table, but we need measures before we can start building our visuals. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to go to the transform data and I'd like to enter into Power Query, wherein I would make blank queries so that it just helps me to organize my measures better. So I'll just go to transform data and then on the left hand side on the queries where you see employee data, production data, sales data. So there I would just, okay, let's first check out the Power Query distribution, column profile. So it's a good practice that you check your Power Query and you check the data format and everything has been done correctly so that later on you don't face any issue. So first, I would check, okay, whether the formatting, okay, employee is in text, employee name is in text, employee age is in numbers, employee gender is in text. So it's a good thing to, verify your data. If there are any null spaces or if there are any errors, try to resolve them first so that later on you don't have problems with your dashboard. Okay, so now the clock dash shows null values as well, but these are correct because these are for inactive employees and they will not have any clocked hours. So that's correct for now in our case, but in case if your data is messy, you need to clean it up first. And for that, you can go ahead and watch my data cleaning video on Power Query. So make sure that for every table you check the source, navigation, everything, and the final last step that is coming is correct according to you. Okay, so everything seems pretty much fine to me right now. Looks pretty decent. Okay, so what I'd like to also do is I would like to check the, formatting of this is correct or not. So I can change it, but see, the production cost in unit should be in currency. So I'd like to add a new step. All right. So yeah, now it's in dollars, so it makes more sense. Okay, so on the right hand side, on the applied steps, we see that it has already added a step and then converted it into dollars. Now, as a good practice, what I would recommend everyone, okay, first let's change the revenue as well. Correct. Makes sense. Now, as a good practice, I would recommend you to right click, go to properties, and put details about what you have done in this step, because right now it's a small file, but later on when you will visit or someone else views your work, they would not understand what exactly you have done in this step, right? It'll just say change type. So it's a good practice to kind of put in little details, little narrations, so that later on, whether you want to refer it back or someone else wants to refer it, it just becomes easier for them. So make it a habit. Okay. Yeah. So all is pretty good. I'll just click on home and close and apply. Okay, we need to go back. As I was saying, I completely forgot. We need to create, yes, we need to create these blank queries. So that just it's just for the sake of organizing the measures. That's something I would like to do. You don't need to do this. You can put it all under one place, but I would like to create sales measures, then production measures, then employee measures, other measures. Just right click on the query side and then just click on new query and then blank query, and then you can just create. It'll take some couple of seconds to load and then it'll be there. So if we go on the table view, we see that coming back to the report view. Okay, so we see we have those queries created and we can start by creating our measures. So first, I would like to create the total revenue measure. So we'll be creating multiple measures. So you can just pause wherever you feel or slow down wherever you feel I'm going a little fast. So let me just explain it. Like, total revenue is nothing but sum of total sales of so it's taking data from the sales data tab, sales data, and then it's summing up the revenue column. It's very similar to Excel formulas. You don't have to put in too much brain because all the formulas we're using right now is quite simple. Okay, so now next comes the our total units sold. All right, so it'll be just the sum of, again, we'll take the data from sales data and sum of units sold. So that will be our total units sold. So what we're doing is we are just preparing our, we are just preparing our data set for future visuals. It's a boring job, I know, but we have to go through this before we get on the beautiful dashboard that we have, that you want to present to your either boss or to your client. And this is the tough part that we need to go through. So we have total returns, which is again sum of returns. Okay, we need to format the measures as well. So total units sold would not actually be currency. I'm just trying to show you it'll actually be a whole number or a decimal number. So yeah. So whenever you create the measure, try to format it correctly as well. So total revenue would be currency, total returns would be a whole number. So yeah, again, we just right click, new measure, and then our next measure is return percentage. So here what we'll do is we'll divide. So divide function works as if first we enter the numerator, that is total returns, that's a measure we already created, comma, the denominator would be the total units sold, and then again we'll put a zero in case it gives an error or something. So, and this would be of course in a percentage. So yep, we have our return percentage as well. Now coming to production measures, again new measure, total expected output equals again sum of production data. Now the table is changed and expected output, so it will take a sum of all that. Total actual output equal to sum of production data's actual output, close bracket, enter. I know, it's not that interesting to sit through this. You can, of course, fast forward, you have the option. So we calculate production efficiency, wherein we'll again be using a divide function. See, there are two ways. You can either use divide, wherein you can put in numerator, comma, denominator, or something, or you can simply just put in a slash sign saying that I like to use both actually, but for now I'm using divide. So defect percentage would again be divide. Numerator would be defective units. That's the total defective units divided by the denominator would be total actual output, comma 0, enter. Okay, now let's come to employee measures. Total clocked hours. Again, this will be sum of clocked hours. So sum, open bracket, clocked hours, close bracket, enter. Total scheduled hours. Total overtime. It's a very similar approach. Active employees. See, we might use all of the measures in our dashboard, we might not, but it's good creating it beforehand of something that we may use, and then later on, of course, I will leave space for you to experiment as well. You don't have to create the dashboard exactly as I am creating. You can choose to follow me, or you can try to experiment and make it even better. Okay, so we created counting the number of active employees. We'll just copy it so that for inactive employees, we'll just change, tweak it a little. So we just paste that, and instead of active, we make sure that we, okay, remember we are using the calculate function here because we are employing a filter. So it will be like calculate, then what you open bracket, what you actually need to do, comma, what's the filter that you are applying. So this works this way. So I think we have created pretty much all of the measures. I think we're just left with maybe the last one, over time percentage. Okay, backspace equal to divide. Then our numerator would be overtime hours, comma. Our denominator would be actual, no, clocked hours, yeah, comma 0, enter. So I think now we are done with all the measures, and in the next video, we'll start formatting for our visuals. All right, this was part one of the video. Stay tuned for the next parts.